What is up guys, Kardak here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we'll be going over the Skadimon deck. Sorry for being away for so long, but I've been pretty busy over the New Year's. So happy New Year to you guys, and welcome back to the very first video for this year. We're going to be doing a Skadimon deck. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. For the Digimon, we're running 5. We're running 4 of the Hexaws. So this is, Hyarimon. So this is one that lets you draw 1 if your opponent doesn't have any Digimon with evolution cards. And then this one is the Bugamon, obviously is restricted to 1. So this one, if your opponent has no Digimon with equal or more evolution cards than this Digimon, then this Digimon is jamming. So having jamming is pretty important in this deck just because your numbers are pretty small. So if you're actually attacking security, there's a good chance you might die if you're playing against a deck that just has bigger Digimon, which is a lot of decks right now. So yeah, we were not really too worried about battling because you have the Ice Clad mechanic. Alright, so moving on to the main deck, we are running 4 of the Skymon. I'm just running her at 4 because I want to see her as much as possible since she is a newer card. But I think in most decks you'll probably be running 3 of these and 3 of the Hexaws. But 4, if you want to play with new cards, you can run this at 4. So our ability is Ice Clad and Barrier. So on evolution, you can play a level 4 or lower Ice Snow trait Digimon from your hand without paying its cost. And then for each of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution cards, you can add 1 to the maximum. So you'll be able to play a level 5 as well. You can potentially go up and play level 6s, but you're not going to get too many benefits from playing level 6s just because your Hexablow and this do activate on evolution. Her second ability activates on attack as well, but yeah. Anyway, the second ability is on evolution and on attack. You can place 1 Digimon with no evolution cards to the bottom of the security to unsuspend. So this ability is pretty flexible because it doesn't state you or your opponent. So if you want to heal up, you can tuck your own, and if you want to just get rid of your opponent's annoying Digimon, you can just tuck theirs. So yeah, pretty good. And when you tuck them, you'll know what is in their trash. But of course, you have to keep in mind of your matchup. If you're playing against yellow decks, there's a chance that they can manipulate their security and grab combo pieces back. So just be careful. But overall, she's a really fun card to play, and a pretty nice new addition to the Ice Snow deck. But next, we are running 2 of the Hexaws. Again, you can run this at 3 and bump this down to 3 as well if you want. Hexaws is from EX-07, so it's got Security Check +1 and Ice Clad. And then on evolution, you can trash 4 evolution cards from any of your opponent's Digimon. And then if your opponent has no Digimon with evolution cards, you can return 1 of your opponent's Tamers to the bottom deck. So Tamer removal is pretty good. And then on your opponent's turn, if none of your opponent's Digimon has as many or fewer evolution cards than none of your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer evolution cards can suspend, so they can't attack. So it's pretty good stun. There is a chance, they just evolve on top after that turn, which is fine. But if you strip a lot of sources, then they'll be choking for their attackers, so they're probably only going to have 1 attack. Alright, next let's go on to level 7. We're running 1 Paladin mode just because we do want a little bit of removal. And if your opponent's playing going wide, this can potentially be a OTKer. So he's pretty nice to run at 1. And we are running Davis, so you can search green off him, which can be pretty nice. So we're running 1 of those. Alright, next we are running 4 of the Polar Bearmon. This is a new level 5 for the Ice Snow deck. So it's got Ice Clad, and on play and on evolution, you can trash 2 evolution cards from any of your opponent's Digimon, and then 1 of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution cards cannot suspend or activate on evolution abilities until the end of their turn. So it's a very strong card, and this card can be cheated out with the Skadimon. So it's pretty good. And then the inherent ability is while your opponent has no Digimon with evolution cards, this Digimon with the Ice Snow trait gains Piercing and Security Check +1. So keep in mind your Paladin mode won't be able to benefit from this, but your other level 6s, all your level 6s will be, so it's not too bad. And being able to get Piercing and Security Check +1 is just nice. If you have the the Hexaws. It's also you can do 3 checks, which is really nice. So yeah, but with the Skadimon you can do 2 attacks, so it's also pretty nice. All right, now let's move on to the level 5. So we're running 4 of the Crisp Digimon. This is the rare from EX-07. So on evolution you can trash 2 from any of your opponent's Digimon, and then if your opponent has no Digimon with evolution cards, you can unsuspend. And then the inheritability is pretty much the same as the bearmon. So just your level 5 just help you do a lot of damage when you're level 6. So it's nice. But this one only activates on evolution, so it's not as nice as this to hardcast. So you're probably gonna keep this in your hand if you're planning to go into the Skymon. And this one you're probably just gonna evolve into it. So it's not bad. Alright, next for the level 4s, we're running 4 of the new Frigimon. So this is from EX-08. So this is Iceclad, and then on playing on evolution, you can trash 2 cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then your opponent has no Digimon with evolution swords, so you can get 1 memory. So this can potentially be a 1 cost to evolve, which is pretty good. And then the inheritability gives one of your opponent's secret check -1 at the end of the turn. So I always really like Frigimon. I think he's really cute. All right, next we're running 2 Sorceremons. So this is just one of your targets for the play for your Skadimon. You slap him out to unsuspend, which is really nice. So there's a pretty nice combo that you can do with this deck. I'll show you guys a little bit later. So running 2, he might be a bit clunky sometimes, but I think his inherit ability is not bad as well, which is just on attack you can trash 1 from your opponent's Digimon. Trash top, sorry, from the opponent's Digimon. And then for the other level 4s, we're also running 2 of the Blizzamon. This one can evolve on a Tamer, which we're running quite a few of, so this can be handy sometimes, but it is a 4 cost to evolve, which is a little bit expensive. But the play on evolution ability is one of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources cannot suspend that until the end of the turn, and it also does jamming, so you can attack with this and Digivolve into this to unsuspend and attack again, and they'll still have jamming, so it's pretty good. And then the inheritability is jamming, so you kind of want jamming, as I mentioned before with Bukamon, just because your Digimon are pretty small. So getting jamming is important. There's another card that can help you get jamming. If you don't want to have the evolution for 4, you can go into the Gagamon for 2. So this one is not an Ice Snow trait, but it does help you give your Digimon jamming, and the on evolution ability lets you draw as well. Both players have to draw, but if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, or if this card has 3 or more evolution sources, which you won't, you'll be able to gain 1 memory, which also pretty much makes you evolve for 1 cost, which is really nice. If you don't want to run this, you can run because you don't want your opponent to draw, you can run the Geckomon from I think EX-07 as well. For the draw, just the raw draw, because the inherit also has jamming, so that's also nice. But yeah, there's a few options you can run if you want to run a level 4 jamming. That's not Ice Snow trade, just because this is kind of the only options we have right now for Ice Snow, but it is 4 costs. So we do have ways to reduce the cost, but yeah. All right, next for the level 4s, we're running for the Penguinmon. So this is one of the ways you can reduce the evolution cost. So if you would Digivolve into an Ice Snow trait Digimon, you can reduce the cost by 1. So if you're Digivolving into Blizzamon, it will be 3 costs. So it's still kind of expensive, but it's better than nothing. And your other stuff is going to be 1 cost, so it's pretty nice. So you can potentially evolve for 0 if you go into this one and your opponent doesn't have a card with evolution sources. So pretty nice. And then for the rookies now, we're running 4 of the Bluekomon. This is the Bluekomon we've got in EX-07. So this one is the Searcher. On play, you can reveal the top 3 cards of the deck and add 1 Digimon or Hexaws card, and then you can also grab a Ice Snow trait and put the rest at the bottom. So helps you search for a lot of pieces. You know, pretty much searches the whole deck. There's a few cards I can't search for, but you can hit most of the targets. And then her ability is on attack, you can trash the top of one of your opponent's Digimon, which does help the deck out. Maintain your opponent's board with no cards with evolution sources. And we're also running 2 of the Gomamon. This is Gomamon from BT14. So the main phase, you can choose one of your opponent's Digimon and trash one of their evolution sources. You can pick, so you can trash their useful cards. So that's pretty good. And then this card cannot be blocked for the turn. And for the inherent ability, it is on your opponent's turn. When this card would be deleted, you can play a Gomamon from this card's source without paying its cost, so you can play it back itself. Gomamon is just really useful to make your stuff unblockable if you need it. You can go for some pretty big plays, and just, yeah, if your opponent's playing like a deck that has a blocker, you know, this is just good. This is just good for that. And then we're also running 2 of the Snow Agumon. It's always really funny to have Snow Agumon attack into a level 7 with no sources and just kill it. So we're running it for that reason. But also the inherent ability lets you trash 1. Trash the top from your opponent's sources, so it's okay. So for the Tamers, we're running 4 Suzunes. So Suzune helps you gain your memory if your opponent has a Digimon on the board at the start of your main phase. And on all turns, if your opponent's if your Digimon are played or evolved, and if any of them have Ice Snow trait, you can suspend this Tamer to trash one opponent's Digimon with evolution source. So yeah, overall, she's just really good for removing sources, and you know, she's MILF, so that's cool. Next, for the other Tamers, running 2 Joes. So Joe is pretty much a 2 cost to hardcast, and it is a recurring ability that lets you gain the memory whenever you trash a source. So having him is just pretty nice. And then we're also running 1 of the Davis. So Davis helps you search for a blue card and a green card. Running 1 just because we are a little bit tight on space. You can kind of adjust the ratios according to how you like it. You can bump Suzune down to 3 if you want, but I think her being at 4 is pretty nice. You can potentially remove Davis as well if you want to run a 3rd Joe. Or if you want to run a useful option card, you can get rid of Davis as well. But I think just being able to set to 3 memory, having the option to set to 3 memory is pretty nice. Next, for the consistency boosters, we're running 3 of the blue trainings just to help you search for Tamers or pieces that you're missing. So for the other options, we're running 1 of the blue scramble just to get a cheaper evolution cost sometimes, and then be able to reuse combo pieces is pretty nice. Debating if I want to bump this up to 2, but 1 is okay. I don't always need it. Sometimes 2 gets a little bit cloggy because I want to draw something else instead. But yeah, 1 is definitely a interesting. Next, we're running 1 Ready Buff Reliability. So the ability is you can trash 2 evolution cards from one of your opponent's Digimon, and then if you have a Tamer with Joe in his name, you can choose one of your Digimon. And if your opponent does not have a Digimon with equal or more evolution cards than that card, you can unsuspend. So you will do extra attack, which is very nice. And the security ability is you can activate this card's main effect, and you can add it to your hand. So you'll be able to use it twice, pretty much, which is nice. And then we're also running 1 of the Hexaws option, Summon Frost. So this one's ability is trash the top 2 evolution cards from all your opponent's Digimon. And if this ability doesn't trash, you can play a level 4 lower Digimon with Ice Snow trait from your hand without paying its cost. And then none of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution abilities can attack until the end of their turn. So this one is the ability that lets you play a Digimon from your hand on your opponent's turn, which will help you proc Suzune. So yeah. Running 1 of each because I don't have too much space. You can probably trim some level 4s or 5s if you want to run more option cards. But mainly I'm just playing around with these. I feel like when I'm playing with, when I played these at higher ratios, I always saw too many of them. Like either I open with them, or when I needed a combo piece for my tower, I draw into an option card instead. And so I've cut this down to one of each for now. If I feel like the option, I need to see another option more often, I'll probably bump it up, back up to 2. But running 1 is okay for now. This deck has not a lot of draws, but it has a decent amount of plays that you can do with what you see that you don't really need these all the time. If you see it, it's nice, and your opponent, if you can use it, it's nice, but it's not definitely too reliant on it. So yeah, that's pretty much for this deck for you guys though. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me show you guys the combo for the... So here is the little combo that you can do with the Skadimon to do maximum damage. So what you can do is you can attack with this first because you do have jamming now, so you're not really afraid. And you also have Ice Clad. So assuming you have like your level 3 and 2 in your source as well, you're probably gonna be able to beat over any of your opponent's Digimon. So you can either do that, or you can attack into security, and you have jamming now, so you're not scared. And then you can Digivolve into Skymon for 3. So it is rested, but if you have the Sorceremon, you can use this ability to untap. And the second ability for Skadimon is once per turn, so you can choose not to use it on the evolution timing. You can choose to use it on the attack timing, because you do have to place a Digimon with no sources, so you can just attack with this first and then proc this afterwards, and put this to the bottom of security, and then you can unsuspend and attack again. And since you are having a security check +1 here, you are doing pretty much 5 checks. You do 1 from here, and then 2 from here, and then on the second attack, this way, do 2 again. So you can do quite a lot of damage, but it also kind of depends on you having your jamming level 4s. So you might want to, if you want to use this combo more consistently, you're probably going to bump up your jamming level 4s. So these ones, you can run a 5th one if you want. You might take one of these out, your Digimons, just because if you want to do this combo consistently, you do want to have the Sorceremon. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this deck, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to let me know. But yeah, this is Karahaku, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!